Hey, good morning, George.
Hey,
I think
morning.
you're still muted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always live, baby.
Yeah.
That's why it's called Valiant Live. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining me on our 70th stream. It's really exciting. Thank you for being great viewers and offering suggestions and all that stuff. We do this every week. I'm George Dowden from Valiant. We're an MSP located in New York City, but we work all over. And we do this every week. You should check out some of our other streams at Valiant Live, thevaliantway.com. So it's live. It's on YouTube, and we do some great stuff. So today's stream is about our midpoint review, talking about what we've been doing for the last almost 6 months, which is kind of crazy. Think of it this far along in the year.
Yeah.
But before we dive into that, I want to give it over to Megan with our quick tips.
Thank you so much, George. The quick tips today. There's sort of a more optimistic view as we move into the summer. There's a lot more travel happening because the vaccine has been rolled out. And so I just kind of wanted to remind people of best practices to keep your IT safe and secure while you travel. And they're usually very simple, but it's kind of incredible how many people miss these steps. Before I worked at Valiant, I missed a lot of these steps. And it's a lot of risk when you travel with your IT is preventable. So I just want to go through the biggest basic. Get a case for your phone, get a sleeve for your laptop, protect your tech. You don't want a free-floating laptop in a suitcase. I don't want to see that at the airport anymore. And then I just got an Otter case last time I got a new phone. It's incredible. If you're like me and you drop things, the Otter case is actually a huge protector. So I know that seems simple, but it is incredible people you see without those things. And then this is kind of an interesting one. Turn off automatic Bluetooth capability so that people can't attach to your phone or anything when you go out. Actually, Justin, do you know the specifics of why? Could you explain that?
Yeah, so Bluetooth, I don't know if you've ever noticed when you're trying to connect your phone to a Bluetooth device, you can see lots of other devices and lots of other things that are out there. And those are devices that are broadcasting that they're available to connect to. And you can just in your Bluetooth settings make it so that your phone doesn't broadcast that so that other people can't see it and try to connect to it. It's a easy way for someone to for you to accidentally do things like share your contacts with some random, speaker device, and whoever has that now has access to your stuff.
Yeah, I think of it, the metaphor you always use with cybersecurity, or like if your car door is unlocked, you're the easy target. So Bluetooth capability, that sort of aligns with that. So also enable biometric security measures or passcodes. I know some people in my family, I won't name them, but who don't have passcodes on their phone.
Yeah.
And then you lose your phone, anyone can access your phone. It's a very simple hurdle that mitigates a lot of risk. And then one thing to really keep in mind when you're on vacation, make sure that your photos are backed up as well. Now, our phones are kind of a central location for everything, including our memories. So just make sure you back them up either on a laptop that you brought with you or to Google Photos so that you don't lose those memories, because you can lose things when you travel. That's a real possibility.
Definitely.
Yeah. And then don't give out. This is big. This is social engineering. A lot of people like to brag about their vacations when they're out on their social media. But, if someone sees that you're out and about in the world on your social media, they know that your house is empty. Also, don't let them know where you are, like what your room number is, or any of that vital information. Keep yourself safe. And you guys, I just wanted to turn it to you. Do you guys have any quick safety tips before we move on?
Yeah, I'd say with that last one, if you really want to share your info on social media, make sure that you use the appropriate filters or settings. So like on Facebook, create like a curated friends list to share with, so it's only the people that you trust with that, and then you can change it when you come back and open it up.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You put out the public, like, hey, I'm leaving and I'm not here, and I have to know that it's anyone. Can do
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then one thing actually Marianne brought up last time we talked about this, enable Find My Phone
Yep.
before you lose it. Because if you lose it and you haven't enabled it, it's not going to work. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
You say I brought that up, but I just downloaded it as we were having this conversation before. So I thought it was only available on iPhone, but apparently there's a free one on Android. So,
That's right.
you know,
It's included. That's
learn
right.
something
It's
new
a
every
good
day.
product. So
That's why
Um,
we do these streams. We educate ourselves, we educate
And
our
yeah,
audience. So
yep.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's great because I mean it can really pinpoint stuff, not just like if you lose it, but if it's stolen, you can kind of track
yeah,
where it's going and things like that. So
exactly.
Right. So only another one is only use password protected Wi-Fi. JP and I did a webinar yesterday, and that's one of the that came up quite a bit was when you're traveling. One of the questions in the panel they asked, like, "Well, I'm sitting in a Starbucks. What should I do?" Don't use the free Wi-Fi. It's unencrypted. That literally leads to you to be snooped. It can absolutely cause no end of trouble because all your credentials, all your bank information, all that stuff is not
yeah,
encrypted until it gets to the other side. So the best practice is to use your phone as a tether if you can. Otherwise, use a VPN service. There's a bunch of them. If you listen to any podcast, there's about 27 that come up. So just pick one. They're all kind of the same in this case. So beyond that, Megan, anything else?
Nope, I think that those are the basics, but just keep your security in mind while you travel. Don't take
Mm.
it for granted.
and just plan ahead.
Be prepared. Awesome. Thank you, Megan. That was a great quick tips. And this actually might lead to some more ones down the road as people start traveling more and there's little things how to keep yourself safe. So go back to our kind of midpoint review. Um, it's interesting. A couple weeks ago, we talked about metrics that matter, or important metrics, KPIs, and one of the ones that came up was I didn't thank you, Matt. Identifying key performance indicators, and one of the ones that came up was a North Star metric, and it was a term that I wasn't really familiar with at the time before we did the stream, putting together, and it kind of became I wouldn't say a bit of an obsession, but I got a deep dive into it quite a bit with our service team, with our sales, throughout the company, throughout Valiant, and but really, what it really kind of it became a much greater conversation of not to be compartmentalized, not to be so isolated into one section and siloing, because every facet of the company interacts with one another. If your service team is amazing, but the billing is totally a hot mess, that leads to a bad customer experience. And if the sales process is great and you bring in tons of new clients, but you can't maintain the service levels appropriately, it's gonna suffer. And really, Justin and I and a number of almost everyone in the company kind of came through with a bunch of different North Star metrics. So, but we haven't really picked one because we're working through what matters and just kind of going back and Justin, maybe you can go through some of the ones that we discussed. I think it'd be useful.
Yeah, sure. I think the first one we were talking about is comparing the number of proactive to reactive hours spent on service issues. We look at the difference between a proactive, something that is either scheduled or planned or maintenance work, versus reactive, something that broke unexpectedly and
Right.
needs to get fixed. And our goal is obviously to have fewer reactive hours, to have things that are being done in a scheduled way as opposed to breaking and needing to be fixed. And I don't know that like you were saying, George, we're collecting that info to see what those numbers should be. I don't think we have a good sense exactly of where we want those numbers to be at,
Right.
other than we want to see a general trend in more proactive, less reactive.
Right. It's
Um,
it's right because and there's different classifications and you have to kind of
mhm.
set yourself up to actually be able to measure these tools. So measure these numbers and actually what does it mean? Because over a longer enough time period.
Exactly,
You know?
and then compare that to other things to see how it affects the like you're saying at the end, customer satisfaction is that we want to see that these things, because we I think rightfully assume that if things aren't breaking and we're not doing reactive tickets, customers are going to be happier because their tech just works. But we're also assuming that we want to see the correlation to that with other
Right.
things.
And the
Um,
causation.
yeah,
You want to know why it's doing it versus just
exactly.
being
Yeah.
like, we think
Yes.
it's this. So that's where you have to dive into the data a bit more.
And another pair of metrics that we're looking at that I think it's more informational for us to figure out how we're doing, how things are doing, is comparing new customer employees to departing customer employees. Obviously, when a new person is hired at one of our clients, we're involved in setting up their accounts, and when a person leaves, either by choice or not, uh, we're involved in terminating those accounts and making sure that they're secure, so we can get a sense of overall the uh, general, I would say like the general industry health of our clients by seeing, measuring the hiring and I don't want to say firing, but measuring the
Turnover.
the yeah, there we go. That's the word. Thank you. Exactly.
Turnover.
Where the
Thank you.
turnover at our clients and seeing how where that goes, and again, and comparing that to other numbers, other data that we can see, like the proactive to reactive, uh, or the next one in the list, which is the total number of tickets per uh, employee at a client, and comparing it to those numbers, and just really just to see what that uh, turns up for us. That one, the number of tickets per employee, I think we've set a goal for ourselves that we like to see it at 1.5 tickets per person per month as about an average, and these are the reactive tickets that
Mhm.
on average, once everything is up and running and working, everybody's going to have about one or two issues that come up in a given month, just by the course of the way
Right.
things go, and by doing things to help bring the numbers closer to that. We can apply that to customer satisfaction because we can see that as, okay, their stuff is working, so that's what we're trying to accomplish.
Right. And it actually has an interesting other flip side of it. If they're not putting that many tickets in,
Mhm.
why?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
that means that either it's like they're servicing, or they're not engaging with us the way we want them to, because we think so. It's, the numbers have a lot of data. There's a lot of story in that
Mhm.
number that
Mhm.
may indicate something else. So you have to
Yeah.
always take it
Those,
from both sides.
yeah. Those tickets could be things like, "Hey, this is broken," but it also could be things like, "Hey, how do we want to do this new thing?" Or, "What do you guys think of this, new product that might help us?" And yeah, and we want to be engaged with those things. We want to see
Hmm.
that there's some engagement and communication, but not that things are breaking all the time. Always find that
Yeah.
happy medium. And I think the last one that we're starting to really look for ways to measure appropriately was what we call our stack adoption. So we've uh, have really, it's a MSP industry term called the stack, which is the collection of the different products and services and tools and things that we use with our customers. And some of them are built in to the service that, it's just like, this is the tool we use to do this thing. And some of them are things like, what email provider you're using, Office 365 or Google Workspace, and we consider those to be our uh, uh, components that we put together to make something uh, for the customer.
It's the best way. It's almost the best way to think of it. It's all the ingredients in the chocolate cake, or the cake you're going to eat when
Mhm.
you, or I've heard it use in the sausage. It has a lot of different terms for, but it's the final product that
Yeah,
is the all encompassing
Is
and I
the
have to
pieces
say
of
goal,
this
yeah.
year that
information.
it was a Burger King term, and I'm not sure if he's joking or being serious, but that makes sense to me. You stack the ingredients, so
The
okay, I
stacker.
like it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, but
They're
what we
yeah,
want
they're all
to,
standards, so
yeah,
Yeah.
we wanna make sure produce the best outcome, which is what we're talking
Exactly.
about. Yeah.
and that's what we want to compare is are the clients that are using the things that we've put together into our ideal stack, our ideal burger, are they opening fewer tickets or opening the right number of tickets? Are they using less reactive hours? Are they using more to fine tune all of that so it can be kind of like a feedback loop where we can say like, okay, when we do when we apply these things, the numbers do this and the customer satisfaction does this, so let's keep doing that because it's going in the right direction. Or the opposite, ooh, when we did this, it made numbers go this way and customers don't like that, so let's not do that again. So then
I mean,
how we've been defining those metrics and working with them over the last, I'd say the last quarter and a half.
exactly, and in the end, we were kind of thinking a composite measure of taking a couple of these different things together and give it a value. So we'll stay tuned. We'll have some more information on that. I think it's kind of an interesting process to
Mhm.
do it because there's a lot of data out there in our industry, but I think it's kind of convoluted, and you have to kind of define what works for your team and your customer base. And this is part of like our overall kind of idea of continuous improvement because it's not a stagnant thing, right? You're constantly looking for maybe better. Like so, the past couple months, past half year, we really worked on one of the areas that we spent a lot of energy on was customer onboarding, and it's always and that's like the most critical
Mhm.
start of a relationship. That start of a relationship is the critical moment that defines the relationship going forward. And I hate to admit it, at times we've not always done as good a job as we wanted to, or the customer didn't fully understand the product we were selling, or the methodology or logic. So, and really, always kind of updating that. So, as we're onboarding customers and learning about things that we found work and doesn't work, so we put a lot of energy on that. So, it's very you got to look at it with a fresh set of eyes because if you have
Mhm.
different customers who are in different stage of life or maturity, they're gonna have a different place that they want to operate from. So it's kind of a ongoing thing. So I think we've done this year a little different is Justin and I and Matt are very involved in industry, the MSP or technical service provider industry. We did a Bit Defender podcast where I spoke to some of their folks over there, Jason and Heather, and it was great. It was really fun. And then yesterday I did an Ninja RM. Matt's doing a scout. Justin and I spoke to an industry group yesterday from marketing communications. That was really, really interesting and really fun. Got some good questions out of there. Really topical for their industry. And and then the other one was I guess, one we did with that one from Ninja yesterday was about compliance, and it was really interesting. So I don't know if we could talk about that for a second.
We end up, well, we work quite a bit with Kaseya on it with their compliance manager tool, just to kind of interpret it. So some of it is our own reading of it, working with other folks, and honestly, we're always open to more input on it because we feel like it's an evolving thing. Like continuous monitoring is always a great question. What does that mean?
Right. Cool. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's kind of the whole thing, right? We're just constantly doing it, and once again, like probably every other IT services company right now, we're spending so much time on cyber and compliance. And thank you, Ninja. That's the whole thrust with Ninja yesterday. Talking with them, they've been a great partner to work with. It's a great provider, and we spent so much time and effort on this, working with our partner Scout and Kaseya. Uh, it's a lot, and especially when last year's work from home and this year though the breaches, that's
Yeah.
top of mind. I mean we don't not talk about this every day.
Yeah, no, it's
It's like,
become, yeah, it's quickly become the hey, let's do what we can to prevent this from happening to you, to let's do what we can so that when this happens to you, it's not a extinction level event. It's
right,
I liked your analogy when we were talking yesterday, George, that it's like a car accident, that you just have to assume that you are going to get into a car accident at some point. If you are riding or driving cars, you will get into an accident at some point. What things do you do to make sure that you not only survive the accident and walk away from it, but are able to continue doing all the things you wanted to do, afterwards? And
right,
the the same thing with cyber security breaches and ransomware. It's
right.
days. It really is just a matter of, yeah, something is going to happen at some point, and let's do what we can to make sure that when it does, it has a very minimal impact, and you can continue doing business right afterwards. And
Right.
that compliancy piece, I think, is the first part of that.
Right. And that kind of goes into like what we're doing next 6 months. So much. I mean, we're going to continue our work on cybersecurity, but the compliance is a big piece of it, and they're different, right? Compliance and compliance is a part of a cybersecurity program, but in and of itself, having writing,
Yeah.
you can't just write a policy and say, "Hey, this is it. We're good."
Yeah, like you can have you could put all the cybersecurity protections in place, but without the written company policy to back it up and to enforce it from the company end, in some ways it has no teeth. And you can write the greatest policy in the world, but if you don't put things in place to comply with that policy, then it's useless because it's just a piece of paper. So they go
Right.
hand in hand.
Yeah, exactly. And we think it's just a critically important thing. And, obviously with our cybersecurity, we're going to keep doing more and more training. I know that Marianne's doing them probably every week at this point, if not
I got one like
more.
right after this.
Right, exactly. And just keeping that flow up. We find that sometimes the clients, they give us a little resistance on it. But we're like, look, this is a part of any good program you're putting together. You need to have the human component and have it going that way. So
Mhm.
beyond
I mean,
that,
and that's definitely
yeah,
something I find a lot of is just, there's always going to be, things are going to be no fault of your own, things are going to happen, but at the very least, if you have people trained, you're hitting some compliance check marks. And if you can get people to recognize what things are common that could, trip them
Mhm.
up, they're more likely to spot it. I mean, I got an email the other day that said it was from my bank and something was wrong. And it looked like it was from my bank, but just from the wording saying something's wrong, I went, is it though? So, it did end up being a scam. I just was, reading the incorrectly. So
Yeah, and that important even when it's personal stuff, because that's how people get information through social engineering that way to get
Mhm.
access to business data. So definitely important. I think uh, the
One breach can lead to another. I
yeah,
mean,
and
yeah, definitely.
to bring it to back to the car accident analogy, if somebody in your car is trained on how to use
Right.
CPR, there's a better chance of the better chance of survival of something going on, and this is no different. If
Sure. Or even if we're
everybody,
just talking money, if they remember I should take pictures,
right.
you'll be able
yeah,
to have a better insurance claim form. So
yeah, exactly.
Very true. Very true. That's the only way to know to have it done that way. So, um, anyway, I think we talked for hours. The last one we would talk about business process automation that we started a couple months ago.
Hmm.
That together, I think that's a really important piece for any business, especially small medium businesses as they're kind of clawing their way out of last year. And
Hmm.
well, we're seeing so much new business for a lot of folks. Just going back to some of our metrics, we're seeing people being added to companies. So
Hmm.
it's a really strong indicator. We've seen a lot less of the um, departures in the same way that it was last time, or at the same time last year. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
much more like adding more folks, adding. People are you checking LinkedIn for 2 minutes. You see, like, man, we're hiring. We're hiring as well. Please, if you have check out
Yeah.
post on Indeed, shameless plug for Valiant to join our team. And yeah, I mean, I don't know, Marion, Justin, Megan, anything else you want to add to this?
Just with the business process automation, I want to tie that into cybersecurity as well, because the more things that are streamlined and automated, the less chance there is for a human error or for something else to come in. So all of those pieces, the cybersecurity, the compliance piece, and the business process automation, are all part of the same structure to help keep things running smoothly and securely. And
Right.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
the at least for me, that's the goal for the rest of the year, is to get those pieces really refined, both internally for us, which is always an ongoing process,
Right.
and for our customers, which is also always an ongoing
Always an
process.
ongoing
Yeah,
process. Yeah.
but
It's good. Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thanks for today. I mean, it's great. So we're wrapping up. We have a great next stream. It's we're going back, revisiting privacy compliance for spring of 2021. Just what's happened in the past couple months. There's so much to talk about on that front. It's like ever evolving. I feel like every week we do this, and there's like a new thing to talk about, which is, I don't know if it's good or bad. Just is. But if you, sorry, man.
Oh, I said it just is. Yeah.
Just is. It's the only way to look at it. And if you enjoyed today's stream, please check us out on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. Send us a message. We love getting feedback from folks. And if you have a minute, check us out on the website, thevaliantway.com. Thanks a lot. Have a great day. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.